peace, and love, kings, queens, and gods on YouTube and on Facebook. We about to get IG on and popping, so bear with me. And as you do, invite a friend. Matter of fact, invite about 10. Then send them a DM and tell them to come on in. Because this Floating Yogi's book club, and we about to go in, y'all. We talking. Hey. Alright. If you'd like to be part of the discourse, if you'd like to be part of the conversation, I encourage you to hit up courses.uedc.com. That's courses.urban yogic wellness and education in dc.kizom. And the link will be in the chat for you while we get these other platforms up and popping. This is just time, space, and opportunity to settle in and to get a few of the homies in. So, gonna do it, right? We still moving, we still making it happen. All right, we're gonna try this one. We're gonna click start. And then we're gonna go over here. And then we're gonna go.
Remember to hit up UE.DC on IG for your daily meditation and accountability check-in. Join the growth gang. It's real simple. You already doom scrolling. You're already on your phone all day, every day anyway. So let's make it just a little bit more productive by checking out the story. I promise you won't get spammed with nothing coming from us. We just want to see if you're moving and meditating, making sure you're not stuck on the couch, Have a homie check in on you every now and then. It can be really helpful. So, get on UC, hit that move to meditate button, join the growth gang, get tagged the next day.
And you just keep the cycle going. Alright, now let's get the last IG popping. Last IG popping. Boom. As I've been saying, and as I'm going to keep on saying, invite a friend. Matter of fact, invite about 10. Even send them a DM and tell them to come on in, because it's the Floating Yogi's book club, and hot dang it, we about to go in. So, this is the perfect time to actually do that. Send some invites out. We going to get on and popping. We talking about change today. How do we cope with change? Like, we reading the book, Who Moved My Cheese? To figure out, different ways, different personality types, different responses that we can have to change, and little ways, little tips and tricks to be a little bit more okay with the change that's happening. Whether it's a small change and like, oh, they don't have my milk, maybe I'll try a different type of milk in my coffee, to a large change. Maybe it's moving to a new house, new life in the family. It can be so many things. So, with that being said, come on in, invite a friend. Matter of fact, invite about 10. Because we about to go in. Hey, there we go. We got my guy, the Yogi man, in here from That Yoga Life, where you can catch me at Sun and Moon Yoga every Monday through Friday, 6:30 to 9 a.m., where we're getting the movement portion of this wellness practice together and accounted for. I'm going to get you together with the foundations. Ahmed is going to blast you off with the rocket and take you to the next level. And it doesn't mean just come to one. It means interchange the two. Play with the dualities and see how we grow. See how we expand. We are talking about change, right? Yeah. So, all right, what else we got? Who else we got? We got my guy Pay Ogre. We got DJ Tony from Pay Ogre Universe, a dimension where people are our greatest resource. And as you've heard him just drop bars earlier, a phenomenal resource himself. I encourage you to reach out to him with any of your I'll call them little admin needs. But the people who know me know the type of admin I'm talking about. It could be, dang, hey, I need someone. How many days have I been meditating? And he gonna hook you up. He'd be like, oh yeah, you tapped in on Monday. We got you on Tuesday, but then Wednesday you kind of fell off. But then I hit you that nudge, and then you sent me the DM late, and you was like, nah, I got it though. This is the accountability. This is the community that we looking for. So people are our greatest resource. I encourage you to tap in with them. What's up, Puzzle Fit? What's up, Crystal? I'm glad you stopped in. If you haven't read the book, Who Moved My Cheese, we're going to get to it in a minute. We just got to talk about all the people who helped me be me and help me do what I do. We just got to bring him in. We got my guy Brent LV. He's part of the crew. He's going to have you hooked up with all your digital assets, your SEO. You trying to do some multi-streaming stuff. He'd be able to set you up on all the systems and run you through it with a little printout so you can figure out how to do it when he ain't there. Yo, I'm trying to tell you. If y'all like to be part of the Zoom room, this service is offered by Yogi, of course, Urban Yogic Wellness and Education, where we're restructuring health and wellness in the community, one healthy habit at a time. And this is just one of the services that we're offering. Ways to take the tools, the lessons that we've learned on the mat, probably those fantastic Lifeform mats, who, of course, is one of our sponsors as well, because their mats are straight fire. We only work with good quality over here. But after you learn those lessons on the mat, we need a space where we can discuss them, where we can sharpen the iron, sharpen the belief, sharpen our thoughts and our arguments on certain things. Life is more than just physical, right? Let's tap into it. And we also have the breathwork available, breathwork and meditation every Thursday, midday mind right. And that's free 99 as well. You only have to pay attention and sign up on the link. It's free. We don't even ask for a credit card. Come on now, just go and get it. What else we got? We got no commercials. Those are the main ones we gonna start with. We gonna get to the book because I do want to get a nice chunk of this book done, because it's a really short read. Hey, see Zoom wasn't working. Oh, could we get the link on the Floating Yogis IG dropped in there, please? That would be fantastic. Then we could send some people to the Zoom room and we can actually have discourse and not like waiting and trying to figure out, now you got something to say? Cut me off and say that shit. I be talking too much anyway. All right, moving forward. All right, we were talking about how him and Hall have always been have set up shop at the cheese station C, where they found the cheese, and they didn't notice that the cheese was depleting each day. And then we have Scurry and what's the others? Sniff and Scurry, and they never set up shop. They just stayed moving. They just kept moving. Boom, 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 boom. So they were a little bit more ready for change. They weren't expecting to go to one place and find everything that they were looking for. And again, cheese is just a metaphor for whatever it is that you desire, whatever it is you're searching for, whatever you're trying to attain. We're talking about mice here, so it's cheese. It's cool. All right. Hey, welcome. Come on through, y'all. Welcome. Come on in. Invite a friend. Matter of fact, invite about 10, because we about to go in. Like, literally. The book's open. And we're reading Who Moved My Cheese. The next day, him and Ha left their homes and returned to Cheese Station C again, where they still expected somehow to find their cheese. The situation hadn't changed. The cheese was no longer there.
What page we on?
We're on page 37.
Okay.
The little people didn't know what to do. Him and Hall just stood there, immobilized like two statues. That's a way we could respond to change. Like deer in the headlights, you just froze. Like, dang, this is a lot downloading or a lot processing. I'm just gonna let this sit for a minute. And sometimes I think that's a great way to respond, because we're not reacting. And sometimes when we react, it could be reacting out of whatever feeling we're experiencing, and it might not be the right action to get us the result we're looking for, or to even just allow whatever it is we're experiencing to process. So when we do respond, we have a better understanding of it and of what we want and where we stand. All right, moving forward. Hall shut his eyes tight as he could and put his hands over his ears. He just wanted to block everything out. He didn't want to know the cheese supply had gradually been getting smaller. He believed it had been moved all of a sudden. Now he's creating delusions in his head. Come on now. Him analyzed the situation over and over, and eventually his complicated brain with his huge belief system took hold. Why did they do this to me? He demanded. What's really going on here? Ah! Finally, Ha opened his eyes, looked around, and said, By the way, where are Sniff and Scurry? Do you think they know something we don't? Him scoffed. What would they know? Him continued. They're just simple mice. They just respond to what's happening. We're little people. We're smarter than mice. We should be able to figure this out. I know we're smarter, Haw said, but we don't seem to be acting smarter at the moment. Things are changing around here, Him. Maybe we need to change and do things differently. Uh-oh. The realization and potentially acceptance of change. Let's see. Why should we change? Him asked. Oh, blackdasted, doubt. We're little people. We're special. This sort of thing shouldn't happen to us. Or if it does, we should at least get some benefits. Bruh. Oh, alright. Why should we get benefits? Haw asked. Because we're entitled, Him claimed. Entitled to what? Haw wanted to know. We're entitled to our cheese. Why? Haw asked. Because we didn't cause this problem, Him said. Somebody else did this, and we should get something out of it. Yes, that's it. Haw suggested maybe we should just stop analyzing the situation so much and just get going finding some new cheese. Oh no, Him argued. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. While him and anyone know somebody who did that? Maybe it's ourselves. That's why I'm gonna rap with Tony for a second on this. That's why I don't even get into the blame game, because that blame game, it's just delaying me getting what the heck I want to begin with. I'm sitting here talking about who did it and why, when somebody else could be taking it, or it could be gone, or the league could be buried.
I can see it.
All right. We're gonna see what else Him and Ha been doing. While Him and Ha were trying to decide what to do, Sniff and Scurry were already well on their way. They went farther into the maze, up and down corridors, looking for their cheese in every cheese station they could find. They didn't think of anything else but finding new cheese. They didn't find any for some time until they finally went into an area of a maze where they'd never been before. Cheese Station Inn. They squealed with delight. They found what they've been looking for, a great supply of new cheese. They could hardly believe their eyes. It was the biggest store of cheese the mice had ever seen. Wow, it could be better than we already been experiencing, better than we've already imagined. That's a thing, huh? Come on in, invite a friend. Matter of fact, invite about 10. It's the Floating Yogis Book Club, and we are already going in. Thanks to UE, and all of our sponsors and partners. I appreciate y'all. All right, moving forward.
Sometimes the grass really is greener on the other side.
Ooh, come on, Devil's Advocate. That's what I was looking for, a little Tony action. And sometimes the grass is a little greener on the other side. But, I ain't trying to create some controversy, because that's controversial right there. You ain't gonna know unless you look. That's a little controversy. We're gonna keep that for another time. Don't get into that. Don't look too deep into that. Be like the mice, move forward, and that's what we're doing. In the meantime, Him and Ha were still back in Cheese Station C evaluating their situation. They were now suffering from the effects of having no cheese. They were becoming frustrated and angry and were blaming each other for the situation they were in. Now and then, Ha thought about his mice friends. Sniff and Scurry, and wondered if they'd found any cheese yet. He believed they might be having a hard time, as running through the maze usually involves some uncertainty. But he also knew that it was likely to only last for a while. Sometimes Hall would imagine Sniff and Scurry finding new cheese and enjoying it. He thought about how good it would be for him to venture out on to be out on an adventure in a maze and find fresh new cheese. He could almost taste it. The more clearly Hall saw the image of himself finding and enjoying new cheese, the more he saw himself leaving Cheese Station C. "Let's go," he exclaimed all of a sudden. "Finally, let's do it. Welcome, 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 y'all. Come on in, invite a friend. Invite 10. We still going in." "All right." "No," Hall quickly responded. "I like it here. It's comfortable. It's what I know. Besides, it's dangerous out there." That sounds like fear. That response is so much fear. Yeah, I love the simplicity of it. It just puts the situations, the responses out there just so simple. "No, it isn't," Hall argued. "We've run through many parts of the maze before, and we can do it again." "I'm getting too old for that," Him said. "And I'm afraid I'm not interested in getting lost and making a fool of myself. Are you?" With that, Hall's fear of failing returned, and his hope of finding new cheese faded. Dang, ain't that about a thing?
Company you keep.
That part. The company you keep. They can lift you up or pull you down. Where they at? Where you what? Alright. With that, so every day the little people continued to do what they had done before. They went to Cheese Station C, found no cheese, and returned home, carrying their worries and frustrations with them. They tried to deny what was happening, but found it harder to get sleep and had less energy the next day. They were becoming irritable. Their homes were not the nurturing place they once were. The little people had difficulty sleeping and were having nightmares about not finding any cheese. That's like the universe, the subconscious talking to us saying, "Yo, pursue this." The alchemist, your dream. Your what is it? The hero's journey. Go on your journey. We gotta go somewhere, interact with the world, or else it's gonna be a lot of monotony. Cheese is a metaphor for whatever we desire. Cheese is a metaphor for whatever we desire. Because if you think about it, if you're going day in and day out and you're not finding no cheese and you're only seeing it as food, then you're dead after a few days. I mean, Jesus did 40. So I'm assuming, maybe we could do like 30, 14, something like that. But after a while, they saying day in and day out, like this is months. It definitely ain't no food. It's definitely pursuing whatever goal it is, whatever dream it is. Don't be like the guy in The Alchemist, unless you want to, unless that's the path you want to go. But don't be like the guy in The Alchemist who was scared to pursue his dream. He had the money to do it, and that was what he was working towards getting, and then he just wanted to stay in his crystal shop. The idea of the dream is what gave him hope, gave him faith. And gave him the energy to keep going. But he just didn't want to pursue it. But look at how he lived his life. I speak a lot about lifestyle. So what type of life do you want to live? One that is a little bit adventurous, a little bit risky, but you're making educated decisions, not just like on the whim decisions, but you are following your dream. You do have a plan of action and you do follow it. Sometimes it's a divert and a detour, but is that your mindset, or is it, nah, I'm just going to stay here and think about what it could be and live off of the idea? Which lifestyle works for you? Oh yeah, what's your why? What's your why? What's your why for doing it? That'll give you the answer. But it's just a different lifestyle. Choose which lifestyle is really going to work for you, because sometimes that's enough. The idea of it is enough. And maybe that's how you feel for some time, and then maybe the idea is a little bit more palatable or seems a little bit more realistic, and then you shoot for it. We gonna be on that forever. Oh my gosh. Yeah, these are some marks. These are some marks. Where's the AI? Hopefully AI mark that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. But him and Hall still returned to Cheese Station C and waited there every day. Him said, if we just work harder, we'll find that nothing has really changed that much. The cheese is probably nearby. Maybe they just hid it behind the wall. The next day, him and Hall returned with their tools, and him held the shizzle while Hall banged on the hammer until they made a hole in the wall in Cheese Station C. They peered out inside but found no cheese. They were disappointed but believed they could solve the problem. So they started earlier, stayed longer, and worked harder. But after a while, all they had was a large hole in the wall. This is misdirected energy right here. They doing all that work when they could just run the maze like they know they could because they've done it before. But maybe that's the life they wanted to live, Maybe that's the lifestyle they were shooting for. But maybe him said, we should just sit here and see what happens. Sooner or later, they have to put the cheese back. Hall wanted to believe that. So each day, he went home to rest and returned reluctantly with him to Cheese Station C. But cheese never reappeared. By now, the little people were growing weak from hunger and stress. Hall was getting tired of just waiting for their situation to improve. Ooh. He began to see that the longer they stayed in their cheeseless situation, the worse off they would be. Hall knew that they were losing their edge, and finally, one day, Hall began laughing at himself. Ha ha! Look at us! We keep doing the same thing over and over again, and we're wondering why things don't get better. If this isn't so ridiculous, it would be even funnier. Hall did not like the idea of having to run through the maze again, because he knew he would get lost and have no idea where he would find any cheese. But he had to laugh at his folly when he saw that what his fear was doing to him. Delicious. The awareness. He asked him, where did we put our running shoes? It took a long time to find them because they put everything away that when they found the Cheese Station C, thinking that they wouldn't be needing them anymore. As him saw his friends getting into the running gear, he said, you're not really going to go into the maze again, are you? Why don't you just wait here with me until they put the cheese back? Because you just don't get it, Hall said. I didn't want to see it either, but now I realize they're never going to put yesterday's cheese back. It's time to find new cheese. Him argued, but what if there's no cheese out there, or even if there is, what if you don't find it? I don't know, Hall said. He had asked himself those same questions too many times and felt the fears again that kept him where he was. He asked himself, where am I more likely to find cheese? Here or in the maze? He painted a picture in his mind. He saw himself venturing out into the maze with a smile on his face. While his picture surprised him, it made him feel good. He saw himself getting lost now and then in the maze, but felt confident he would eventually find new cheese out there, and all the good things that came with it. He gathered his courage. Then he used his imagination to paint the most believable picture that he could, with the most realistic details of him finding and enjoying the taste of cheese, that visualization tactic that's so powerful. He saw himself eating Swiss cheese with holes in it, bright orange cheddar and American cheese, Italian mozzarella, wonderfully soft French Cabernet cheese, and then he heard him say something and he realized they were still at Cheese Station C. Hall said, sometimes, things change and are never the same again. This looks like one of those times. That's life. Life moves on, and so should we. Hall looked at his emaciated companion and tried to talk some sense into him. But him's fear had turned into anger and he wouldn't listen. Hall didn't mean to be rude to his friends, but he had to laugh at how silly they both looked. As Hall prepared to leave, he started to feel more alive, knowing that he was finally going to be able to laugh at himself, let go, and move on. Hall laughed and announced, "It's maze time! Time! Him didn't laugh, and he didn't respond. Hall picked up a small, sharp rock and wrote a serious thought on the wall for him to think about. As was his custom, Hall even drew a picture of cheese around it, hoping it would help him to smile, lighten up, and go after the new cheese. But him didn't want to see it. It read, "If you do not change, you can become extinct." Fair enough. Then Hall stuck out his head and peered anxiously into the maze. He thought about how he'd gotten himself into this cheeseless situation. He had believed that there may not be any cheese in the maze or that he may not find it. Such fearful beliefs were immobilizing and killing him. Hall smiled. He knew him was wondering, who moved my cheese? But Hall was wondering, why didn't I get up and move with the cheese sooner? As he started out into the maze, Hall looked back to where he had come and he felt the comfort. He could feel himself being drawn back into familiar territory, even though he hadn't found cheese there for some time. Hall became more anxious and wondered if he really wanted to go out into the maze. He wrote a saying on the wall ahead of him and stared at it for some time. What would you do if you weren't afraid? That's a powerful question. What would you do if you weren't afraid? He thought about it. He knew sometimes some fear can be good. When you're afraid, things are going to get worse. If you don't do something, it can prompt you into action. But it is not good when you are so afraid that it keeps you from doing anything. He looked to his right to part of the maze where he'd never been and felt the fear.